Riders to the Sea by John Millington Synge.
Play is on from the 19th till the 29th of November, 8 performances in the Cogs Artspace, Islington at 8 p.m.
I'm playing Kathleen in Riders to the Sea and I'm really excited to be part of it. I think the play is really interesting and I think how it expresses and discusses family dynamics and how they cope in the face of change and adversity is really interesting.
I'm really enjoying working on the play. Synge's writing is full of so much depth, the language is so rich, the images, the poetry and the characters. Yeah, it's a joy as a director to be able to work on this play.
And Synge wrote it of having been to the Aran Islands and lived with some people there. He saw the reality of their lives, and he's written wonderful parts for women lots of times, not just in this play, but it's about, to me, it's about survival, really basic survival.
Because the Aran Islands are such a specific place and the entire livelihood of these people and their whole existence is dictated by their surroundings, by the sea, by how difficult it is to live there. Everything about the play, the countryside and that kind of hardness of life that is, I suppose, West of Ireland life, is reflected in their mannerisms and how they bake bread and how they get up in the morning and the fact they have to wear a shawl because it's cold. They cut turf, they burn turf, they constantly reference the sea and everything surrounding them and the wind and the weather. So I think it's so oppressive, the island itself and the countryside just cannot help but be completely all over everything that happens. It's such a major part of their life.
I've been a fan of his writing ever since I read Playboy of the Western World. It's such a fantastic play with so much heartbreak at times, but so much humour. The characters are so interesting and real, and the more you read about the history, the more interesting it becomes.
I really like that there are 3 strong female characters in the play. It's not, unfortunately, it's not the norm that you read a play and there are more female characters than male. And it's also not the norm that they're very developed and interesting characters. And I think this play really explores the strong Irish woman. And I really love being in plays and pieces that explore that concept and where women get to tell a story as opposed to being part of somebody else's story. So that was a really strong point for me with this script.
Working on the play, it's amazing how many other plays it makes you think of, not only within Irish literature, but like Mother Courage by Brecht. Both the character of Maura and of Mother Courage, they've both got a real resilience and a resignation about the harshness of their life, how they choose to deal with it and get on with it. There's like I said, there's a kind of acceptance there. And it's always interesting when you find other literary characters, either from plays or from novels, where you can make comparison.
Kathleen is the oldest of the 2 sisters and she's had to take on a lot of the family responsibility because of things that have happened. So I think she has to grow up a little bit faster. I think she's wonderful and really dynamic, and her relationship with her siblings and her mother is really interesting, I think, to explore.
Come along and see it. It's at the Cog Artspace in Islington. The first night is the 19th and then we're performing 4 nights a week until the 29th of November. So not long to get your tickets.
I really like that there are 3 strong female characters in the play. It's not, unfortunately, it's not the norm that you read a play and there are more female characters than male. And it's also not the norm that they're very developed and interesting characters. And I think this play really explores the strong Irish woman. And I really love being in plays and pieces that explore that concept and where women get to tell a story as opposed to being part of somebody else's story. So that was a really strong point for me with this script. I love how connected it makes me feel to my culture. I'm obviously Irish and I'm very invested in that. I play Irish music and I sing Irish songs and I speak a bit of Irish, and I love being in London and being able to explore that with a group of people. And there's music in the play, and I think the play is very rooted in a really strong sense of Irishness, West of Ireland actually, which is a particular thing. and it's brilliant to have a chance to look at that and to be part of that and explore that whilst in London working.
I think of their lives as almost akin to the lives of animals in wilderness areas. You know how in islands off Scotland, off Ireland, where they're dominated by islands, in a way the people who live in the place this play is set have similar lives, because they have to fend for themselves, whether it's fishing or growing, making everything that they wear, the boats that they go out in, they have to make everything with their two hands and whatever supplies they can find.
I'd like to think that they're going to leave the play enriched by watching how the women have kind of come to terms or accepted the kind of cruelness of the life in the Aran Islands, and there's something quite, I think, something quite uplifting about the end.
You can see Riders to the Sea by coming to the Cog Artspace, and it's on from the 19th to the 29th, and there are 8 performances and it starts at 8 p.m.